Hi everyone, my name is Helena, and today I'm with Just Policies to talk about the People's Response Act. Just Policies is a nonprofit dedicated to police reform and ending qualified immunity. We advocate for legislation, post blog posts, and every now and then we host talks like this one. Check us out on our website at justpolicies.org, join our group on Facebook, and if you can, we'd love if you could donate to our organization. Now, switching gears a little, let's get into the People's Response Act. So, what is the People's Response Act? This June, Congresswoman Cori Bush from Missouri introduced this bill, and its goal is to create a health centered approach to public safety. It aims to do that by investing in community mental health resources and helping people who are having substance abuse crises. This isn't mentioned directly in the bill, but investing in mental health support can also relieve pressure for police to handle issues they're not trained to solve. This quote from Cori Bush is a poignant summary of the bill's goals. Public safety is a public health issue. It's time our approach reflects that. The People's Response Act will transform public safety into a system of care rather than criminalization, healing rather than incarceration, and prevention rather than policing. Why do we need to see public safety as a public health issue? According to the ACLU, the presence of school-based mental health providers not only improves outcomes for students, but can also improve overall school safety. Some benefits include higher attendance rates, better academic achievement, higher graduation rates, and lower disciplinary cases. Despite that, public schools face a shortage of mental health services, while funding for police in schools is rising. Police in schools have an adverse effect on the children that attend them, such as increased disciplinary rates, lowered test scores, graduation rates, and college enrollment. These affect low-income students the most, since schools and teachers often lack support resources, and some instead turn to law enforcement for help. As you can see on this little screenshot from the ACLU's website, 14 million students have police in their schools, but no counselor, nurse, psychologist, or social worker. According to the ACLU, many states also report having 2 to 3 times more cops in schools than social workers. Outside the classroom, those with untreated mental health disorders are 16 times more likely to be killed during a police encounter than people without mental health disorders are even stopped by the police. And our expectation for cops to handle mental health crises not only put those in a crisis at risk, but also takes a toll on law enforcement. In 2016, after a series of shootings, Dallas Police Chief David Brown explained how cops are expected to perform tasks they don't feel trained or equipped to handle. He says, "We're asking cops to do too much in this country. Every societal failure, we put it off on the cops to solve. Not enough mental health funding? Let the cops handle it. Schools fail? Let's give it to the cops. That's too much to ask. Policing was never meant to solve all these problems." So, how can the People's Response Act help? What exactly will it do? It will establish a first response unit to aid state and local governments with emergency health crises instead of leaving it to officers and potentially putting people at risk. It also redefines public safety as public health by creating a division of community safety within the Department of Health and Human Services. This division will research public safety methods outside of policing and support policies and organizations that advocate for that research. The bill will also grant $7.5 billion to community organizations and state and local governments to invest in public safety and create thousands of jobs for emergency responders like social workers, mental health counselors, substance abuse counselors, and peer support specialists. Already, communities and local governments are taking steps to invest in public safety. With the People's Response Act's help, we can fund more initiatives like this. This summer, New York City launched its Be Heard program, which specializes in aiding those with mental health issues and emergencies like suicide attempts, substance abuse, and serious mental illness. The program, based on a long existing one in Eugene, Oregon, called Cahoots, has been a success. Another program in North Carolina is the state's first peer-run respite center. It is free for participants, fully staffed by those who have struggled with mental illness and substance abuse, and functions as a voluntary alternative for mental health crisis care. If we pass the People's Response Act, We can give more funding to programs like these and help them spread in communities all across the country. To sponsor this bill, I'll post the link in the description to a petition that urges our representatives to pass the People's Response Act, or you can send them an email or give them a call. I also have a document with resources and useful links I found during my research, and I'll post that too. You can check out our website at justpolicies.org, join our group on Facebook, and donate at the link in our description, if you have the resources, of course. Thank you all for your time.